Everybody, my name is Robin Higginbotham, and welcome to Diary of a Junkie, success stories of people in recovery. This is an original product of the Fuck Heroin Foundation and Clean Motives LLC. We're here at the launch of the Fuck Heroin Foundation 2016 U.S. Tour. I have as my guest today Debbie Perkins. She's the newest team member. I've known Debbie for a very, very long time, and she is very strong in her recovery, and she represents recovery well, and I wanted to let her share some of her story with you. And with that, I'll bring you Debbie. Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you so much, Robin. Hi, my name's Debbie, and I'm an addict. You know, what I know is that it took me a really long time to even be able to say that word, because, you know, once you say that you're an addict, it kind of means that you have to do something about it. When I was little, I was molested. I was 6 years old, and my abuser gave me alcohol. And he told me that if I ever told anybody, that he would do it to my sister. So I thought that as long as I didn't say anything to anybody, my secret would be safe with me. My dad was very abusive. He used to beat the heck out of my mom and us siblings, and I just always thought that life was like that. You know, that everybody's dad beat on their mom and beat on their kids, and their families hurt them. So I grew up not trusting anybody. My parents put me in kickboxing early because they thought that if they couldn't understand why I was beating people up in kindergarten. And little did they know that I was in a lot of pain. And my character defect is anger. So I grew up hurting and very codependent, trying to protect my mom and my siblings. I got through high school okay, but what happened was that I ended up getting raped. And I gave birth to my now 21-year-old daughter handcuffed to a bed. I was in and out of the jails. You know, when they say jails, institutions, and death, that's real. You know, I just had no idea that my past and my present would collide like it has today. I've been to prison 3 times. I have 37 felonies, all due to drug addiction. Both of my parents committed suicide. And everything that I went through in my adulthood and my early childhood just led me to use drugs, because what I knew was that I just didn't want to feel it all. And as long as I could use, I put my past behind me. Well, what happened was I kept getting in trouble, and my stepdad, he was dying of cancer, and I was facing 10 years, and the judge didn't want to hear anything that I had to say. You know, back in the day, that's all they did. They incarcerated you. And incarceration is not the answer to anybody that's in active addiction. All it did was teach me how to get away with more stuff. And it kept me in pain because I never dealt with my past. I was in and out of the rooms. The only time that I went to learn anything about addiction, I went into the drug dorm in the county jail, and that's only because they gave you more food. I didn't want to hear anything that they had to say. And, you know, they would put the 12 steps of recovery in front of me. And, you know, I believed in God. I just didn't believe he was there for me. You know, like everything in my past, I was a victim. And my mentality was, if you went through what I went through, you would too. And that's how I lived my life. I gave myself permission. And I never told anybody about the molestation. And that was like my badge of honor. You know, as long as I kept my little dirty secret. I always thought early on, you know, that something was wrong with me because it never happened to my sister. So when I went in front of the judge, he wanted to give me 10 more years, but he let me take care of my stepdad. And he said, you know what, Miss Perkins, this is what I know. He said, you're going to be back. And he's looking at my extensive record in front of him. And that made me mad. You know, and what he sentenced me to was a 2 years house arrest. And he sentenced me to a meeting every day. And I was mad. I was mad. I used to walk into the meetings and I'd cuss everybody out. Don't hug me. Don't touch me. I'm here because a judge says I have to be. Just sign my paper and let me go. And what happened was I had a woman of faith, and she walked up to me and she says, Debbie, who's your sponsor? And for some reason, I couldn't cuss this lady out, because what I learned early on in church is that you know, the wrath of God. I mean, that's what they taught us in church. And I didn't want anything to do with any kind of spirituality. And in every step. The first one is we admitted we were powerless over drugs or alcohol. Everything else was spiritual, and I didn't want any part of it. And so the lady, I couldn't cuss her out, and I didn't cuss her out. And after the meeting, she puts this little piece of paper in my hand, and she says, I am now your sponsor, and I'll be at your house in 3 days. And for the first time in my life, I opened the big book. And what I found out was that, am I the only one that has a bad past? No. I mean, is my past worse than most? Absolutely. But what I learned was that, the only way that I'm going to have a future is if I dealt with my past. And it was my first 6 months to a year was the most painful that I have ever experienced. I had to deal with the molestation, the rapes, my parents committing suicide. Somebody said to me in the meeting, Deb, as long as you keep ruining your life, that man is he's still winning, and that made sense to me. And I just knew that he wasn't going to beat me anymore. And I worked hard on the 12 steps of recovery. I took suggestions for the first time in my life. Every time I would go in there, I always thought that I was strong enough, different from everybody. I was strong enough. I didn't have to work those steps. I didn't need no sponsor. And what I found in the 12 steps in the rooms of recovery is that I found my humility and I found my place in life. These people loved me when I didn't know how to love myself. They're hugely a part of my life. When my stepdad died, it for the majority, it wasn't his friends or my friends, but it was the people in the rooms. They surrounded me, and they were there for me and got me through it. I always thought when life would get real easy once I got sober, and what I found out that it doesn't. My boyfriend passed away. First healthy relationship that I ever had. He passed away, and I got through it, and I got through it sober, because what I learned in this 12 steps of recovery is to pick up the phone and talk to people when I was hurting, which is one thing that I never did. I never told anybody about anything that I ever went through. And now I have amazing, amazing friends in these rooms. Another thing that somebody said to me is, Debbie, you can't live dirty and stay clean. And I thought, well, what the heck does that mean? Because what I can tell you when I was out there in them streets is that, I knew how to lie, cheat, steal, manipulate. And when I got sober, I was still doing all that stuff. And my sponsor says to me, she says, Debbie, this is what you need to do. At the end of the day, I want you to write down how your day went, and everybody that you hurt in that day, I want you to pick up that phone and I want you to make amends. And I didn't want to do that because my pride was just ridiculous. But you know what? For the first time, I took those suggestions. And what happened was, I might have been on the phone for 3 hours every day. I might not should have beat you up, click. I should have not cussed you out, click. But what I found out the next day is how good I felt about me. I've learned that this program is a daily reprieve. And one day at a time, I've learned how to live life, and I've lived life successfully. I couldn't string together more than 30 days at any given time because I didn't want to stay sober. I wanted to be able to use with no consequences. And any of y'all that are out there, you got to know, that's not reality. It took me a while to learn my addict mentality versus reality. My mind said, Debbie, you know what? You're healed. You can go do one little bit of this drug or one little bit of that. And reality was it always took me back to jails and institutions. So anybody that's out there in early recovery, do the work, believe in yourself, and believe in the people around you. When I first walked into the rooms, I thought that was a cult, and everybody was smiling and happy. And I thought for sure that I was in a cult, but what I found out is that everybody's in there that's happy because it's reality. And I've become them, and I'm one of them. I'm really blessed. There's so much more to my story, but I just gave you a little piece of it. I'm really blessed to become a part of the Fuck Heroin Foundation. What an amazing place to be. And I found a fit, and we're fixing to bring it. Thank you so much. God bless.
Thank you for doing that. Fucking awesome. Yeah, I can relate to a lot of things she said. The substances we use, our lifestyles may be different, but the feelings associated with our addictions and the consequences are all the same. If you're out there struggling, please reach out. We're here to help you. Give us a call, 419-971-KICK, fuckheroinfoundation.com for merchandise, at Fuck Heroin Foundation on Facebook. We're here. We love you. Peace out.
Peace out.